Good morning, class. I'm Samantha Young, and today I will be giving a speech to convince you that people on welfare should be required to take drug tests. In history, it has been hard for states to rule that it is constitutional for them to require people who receive welfare to take drug tests. I believe that it is becoming necessary and that people in the government are starting to see this as well. There are moves being made in over half the states in the U.S. So, who here wants the money that they pay for taxes to be used by someone else to sit on their couch and use drugs? The University of Michigan did a survey that showed 20% of welfare recipients admitted to using illegal substances in the past year. These are only those who admit it. I wonder how we could tell if there were any more people using drugs. Does the government care that people they are giving money to may be using it for illegal drugs? I have served in the U.S. Air Force for almost 13 years, protecting this country and our rights. I have been paying taxes since my very first job when I was 16 years old, and I've had to take drug tests the entire time. Now I will go over some history on the subject of welfare and drug tests. Drug testing for welfare benefits has been a subject of debate since Congress overhauled welfare in 1996. In 2003, a Michigan judge ruled that subjecting every welfare recipient to drug testing without reason to believe that drugs were being used was unconstitutional. In 2009, over 20 states proposed legislation that would require drug testing as a condition for receiving welfare benefits. Until 5 years ago, few, if any, states drug tested for welfare benefits. Since then, at least 9 have passed some kind of drug testing requirement. The subject of drug testing people who receive welfare has been going around for years. There are people who support both sides of the debate. Now I'd like to go over some of my thoughts that make me favor the side of people on welfare should receive drug tests. People who are working are required to take drug tests. In the military, we have random drug tests all the time, and when we return from deployment or leave, most of the time we take a drug test as well. I've heard of people who get fired from a job for failing a drug test. So what did they do when they got fired from their job? They went and got unemployment and welfare. People who are receiving disability benefits through the VA and some other companies also get drug tests, and if they fail, they lose their benefits. So now you've heard how people who work for their money are not allowed to do drugs. Now I'll tell you about what is going on in individual states to try to make people who receive welfare benefits take drug tests. Over half the states in the U.S. are working to pass legislation to require welfare recipients to take and pass drug tests to receive benefits. According to Fox News, in Mississippi, the Senate approved a bill that sets rules for welfare recipients. It states that the first time a person tests positive, they have to go through substance abuse treatment. The second time, they lose benefits for 90 days. And the third time, they fail the drug tests, they lose their benefits for a year. In Alabama, the state Senate passed a law that required people who have been convicted of a drug offense in the last 5 years to undergo and pay for drug tests as part of their application to receive welfare. In April, the government of Georgia assigned into law to drug test some welfare recipients. The bill states that testing could be required if authorities have a reasonable suspicion of drug use. I've given you some examples of states moving to and making laws to make drug testing mandatory for welfare recipients. Now I would like to review some of my key points of the speech. I went over some history of drug testing welfare recipients. To me, it seems that the states are all seeing that it could be a good move to start requiring drug testing for people to receive the benefits of welfare, even though there are still some who think it's unconstitutional. I talked about how I feel that if people who work, pay taxes, have to take drug tests, then the people receiving benefits from the taxes we pay should too. I like the idea that some states have, like Alabama, using prior offenses as probable cause so that they aren't being unconstitutional. Now that you've heard what I have to say about the subject of drug testing for welfare recipients, I'd like to know what you think about the subject and some ideas you have for the states to help make this a law that is constitutional and fair to everyone. Thank you.